Today we are going to be looking at the OnePlus 7 Pro versus the Mate 20. Right off the bat, from what I'm seeing on the screen, the clouds, I can actually see the clouds in details right now, whereas on the Mate 20, it looks a bit overexposed. Now both of these do have a triple camera setup, so let's see if the OnePlus is better than the Mate 20s. This is the low light front facing test, and I'm walking on a sidewalk. There's plenty of street lights next to me, so I should be fairly lit. There's a bunch of cars as well, so let's move on to the next segment. Shooting on a gloomy day, everything should be flat, more muted, which the OnePlus 7 Pro actually represents that more than the Mate 20. On the Mate 20, it's a bit more saturated, a little bit more vibrant, and it kind of gives that punchy look. When you zoom into the 3x, which I heard the OnePlus 7 Pro is not actually 3x, but that's when it starts to get iffy. When you zoom in all the way to 10x, sometimes it does better on the OnePlus 7 Pro, and sometimes it does better on the Mate 20. Shooting on the Mate 20 really gives off some inconsistency in terms of the pictures. The biggest issue for me is the colors. Sometimes the Mate 20 has a greenish tone on the normal lens, sometimes it could be on the telephoto lens. For example, on this picture, it's at 10x, on the Mate 20, it's very green. And if I take the same exact picture again, maybe it won't be as green. So it's really inconsistent. The great thing is both these cameras do have a wide lens, an ultra wide lens, and a telephoto, so you do get a good option. Now for this picture, if you look at the Mate 20 side, the building starts to get green once you move on to your telephoto lens. So I do like the main sensor on the OnePlus 7 Pro. It's really consistent and clean. I do like the portrait mode on the Mate 20 way better than the OnePlus 7 Pro, because on the OnePlus, you really have to have your subject be in front of you or at a specific spot. And sometimes it could be a simple thing like a tree in front of you and it doesn't really register it. So on the Mate 20, you just point your camera and it just works. When I'm using the OnePlus 7 Pro, I would have to move around the object more often just to actually get the depth effect to work. And on the Mate 20, when I use a telephoto lens to take portrait mode pictures, you see a lot more green happening, which is what I mentioned when I'm zooming in using the telephoto lens while I'm taking normal pictures, but using it while I'm taking aperture or portrait mode pictures, you can really see the green happening. In portrait mode for low light, on the OnePlus 7 Pro will tell you, yeah, we need more light for this, while the Mate 20 does it with no problem. But when you're out on a main street where there's a bunch of street lights, then you won't really run into that problem. It's mainly when you're at a bar or at dinner where you want to take pictures with your friends, then most likely it will tell you that I need more light to take this portrait mode picture. For overall low light, I would stay away from the ultra wide angle on the OnePlus 7 Pro. There's weird flares and the colors are really off. On the main camera, the OnePlus 7 Pro does much better, but I still like the Mate 20s a little bit more because when I look at the textures on the floor or building walls, I can actually see more lines or more details than the OnePlus 7 Pro. For the night modes on both of the phones, they both work, they do get brighter, but I feel like the Mate 20, their normal mode is not too far off from the OnePlus 7 Pro's night mode. And one big plus for the Mate 20 is that you can use night mode on its telephoto lens, whereas on the OnePlus 7 Pro, you're stuck with one focal length. When you're in a darker corner, the OnePlus 7 Pro does look pretty dark, whereas like I said earlier, the Mate 20 looks fine. And when you use their night modes, you can see on the OnePlus 7 Pro a lot more digital artifacts and a random purple light from somewhere. For video, they both can do 4K 30, and I do like the stabilization on the OnePlus 7 Pro much better than the Mate 20. For the colors, the Mate 20 seems more flat, and on the OnePlus 7 Pro, there seems to be a lot more magenta going on. While you're recording, you can actually switch lenses. On the Mate 20, you can use the ultra wide angle lens and the telephoto lens, but on the OnePlus 7 Pro, you can only use or zoom in into the 3x telephoto lens. And shooting with telephoto lens for the OnePlus 7 Pro, this really shows how good stabilization is. The OnePlus 7 Pro can shoot in 4K 60, so if you need that, you have the option, whereas the Mate 20 can only max out on 4K 30. And it's very obvious that shooting in 4K 60, you don't get stabilization. For a low light video, I would say the stabilization is a bit better on the OnePlus 7 Pro. I see less swaying going on. There's a lot of micro jitters, which is pretty obvious when you're shooting in low light. And for the colors, the OnePlus 7 Pro looks warmer, whereas the Mate 20, it has a cooler look. And when you shoot in 4K 60 in nighttime, there's a lot of noise and artifacts showing up, but you do get a sharper image and no micro jitters. So that is my comparison between the Mate 20 and the OnePlus 7 Pro. I would like to mention that this is not the latest update with the latest firmware or camera improvements, because all of this was shot last week. So let me know which one you will pick or which one you think is better in terms of camera. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.